Hello, Auburn family. This is Jason Campbell, On to Victory podcast. Man, we got a great episode today. We've already talked to one of our young stud receivers that just came out of Mobile, Alabama, and Bryce Kane, and he gave you a little insight about what it's like being part of early spring and being here back for bowl practice as well. So you don't want to miss his episode. But then also the guy that's coming up, you definitely don't want to miss him. You know, he's a tremendous player. More importantly, even a better person. He comes here with a lot of accolades. He had a great All-Star game. He's from Little Rock, so for us to pull him out of the state of Arkansas, and bring him to Auburn was a huge gift for Coach Freeze and his staff. He played high school at Little Rock Christian Academy. He was a 3-year starter at his high school, and his accolades just go on and on. I can sit here and talk all day about what he was able to achieve in high school, and everyone got a chance to see bits and pieces during his All-Star game that he was able to play in. But getting a quarterback in a signing class that's filled with predominantly some great receivers, man, it's like a quarterback's dream list. And now, building that offensive line around him and everything for the near future. So I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to let him come on here himself and introduce himself and bring on the man, Walker White. Hey, Walker, how you doing?
Doing great. How are you?
Hey, man, I can't complain, man. It's springtime. Besides the pollen, it's one of my favorite times of the year, man.
Hey, I took my Zyrtec this morning. I'm locked and loaded.
So what you do for spring break?
I went back home. To see my fam. Definitely played a night full of cards. Got to see my friends, but even though they were still, because I'm technically in high school, all my buddies were in school and in session, so I wasn't able to spend a whole lot of time with them. But it was still just good to be home and relax. Just still get some work done with my old coaches. But I had a great time.
So do your not old friends, still your friends, do your friends back home, now that you are like the vet, because you're going off to college, you beat them by 6 months, do they ask you a whole bunch of questions about what to expect in college and all those type of things?
Yeah, I mean, what they're really more interested in is kind of the stories I bring, because there's already been so much happen that has already gone on since I've been here at Auburn, and so they'll just kind of sit and listen to me just tell some stories just about the players or the coaches or what I've been going through. So they're really interested in that stuff, and so it's been fun to we sat around a campfire one night and kind of just talked for a couple hours. So that was a lot of fun.
So I asked Bryce this question. I said, Bryce, you get a chance to go to college, earlier than your other high school friends. Are you going back to the prom this year?
I've never been a dance guy. I don't like getting dressed up. I don't like the pictures, the whole dinner. The dance part, I love. Every time there's a dance, I'm typically in the middle of it, kind of dancing. Like, I don't really care because I usually don't. But I'm not a prom guy, so I don't believe I'm going to be making the 8-hour drive to go spend a night of prom. That doesn't sound appealing to me. But the only part that would be fun is just seeing my friends. So, but probably not going to make the prom trip. But I'm definitely, because we have the month of May off, I'm going to spend a lot of time with them then.
So I take it you got to be single then, because if you had a girlfriend back at home, you definitely probably had to go to the prom, because she'd be like, "No, you're getting a tux, and we're going to the prom, so we can have these photos for memories." So I take it you must be single then.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That is true.
Yeah. Single quarterback on Auburn campus. My goodness. That's all I say. You just got to make sure you stay focused. That's all. You got to make sure you stay focused, Walker. Everybody going to find out that, oh, that's the quarterback from Arkansas. Oh, let me try to talk to him. So, no props to you, my buddy.
Thank you.
No props to you. So let's talk a little bit about coming to Auburn from Arkansas. How was Coach Friesen able to get to know you on a personal level and able to get you to come here? Because I'm pretty sure Arkansas was headed strong on you, being from that state and other schools as well, Ole Miss and some others. How was Auburn able to get you from those schools?
Yeah, and you were talking about the personal level. At the time, Coach Montgomery was here, and I had a previous relationship with him. He had offered me my sophomore year. I'd gotten to know him a little bit, took a visit to Tulsa, and so when he was here, there's always already that personal connection. I knew a
Yeah.
couple other coaches, one being Coach Stone, who works with the quarterbacks. He came from my school and was coached by my quarterback coach, and so there was that personal connection there. Coach Freeze hired a great offensive staff, and they did such a good job of being really personal. Coach Freeze started talking a lot with me, came and visited me at my school. I took I took one visit here before I committed, but multiple visits after that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so taking me all the way from Arkansas and like you said, Ole Miss and a couple other schools that were really heavy on me. This place just kind of clicked a little bit differently, especially because I had that personal connection with a couple of the coaches. But also just the offensive staff, like I already said, that is on this coaching staff. It's
Mhm.
unbelievable. I mean, that we have Coach Austin, Coach Freeze, and now Coach Stone, Coach Nix, Coach Moore. I mean, all these guys that have so much experience and are able to connect with us on a personal level. They have so much experience, and that was the biggest thing that I was so excited for, and I'm still on fire
Yeah.
for this, is learning more. And I just understand that with my short time here at Auburn so far, I have a lot to learn, and so I've just been really dedicated to asking questions. So, but they have done a great job of just being personal with me.
Yeah, and Coach Nitt's coming over from Ole Miss. Per sure you had the opportunity to talk with him when he was on a couple of recruiting visits and everything. So that's another familiar face. Because in this business, sometimes coaches they change and for various reasons, but having those relationships always matter. Like I say, Coach Montgomery was a solid person, solid coach, and everything. But now Coach Nitz is there, someone that's actually coached with Coach Freeze before. So I'm pretty sure there's a lot of familiarity there and reason he was able to come over from Ole Miss. But talk about you being from Arkansas is actually not a bad flight because you just come right at 85, you go to Atlanta, about an hour and 20-minute flight to Fayetteville. That's what I know. You say you driving, so I guess you like to get in your truck and drive and listen to the music and kick back and enjoy the scenery. But when we played Arkansas this past year, I flew out there and it wasn't bad, like an hour and 25 minutes from Atlanta to Fayetteville. So not a bad flight at all. But how far did you grow up outside of Fayetteville?
So growing up in Little Rock, that's about depends on how fast you drive. You can get there in 2 hours and 30 minutes, or if you're a slow driver, 3 hours.
So that's why it's better for you to drive because by the time you drive to Atlanta, fly well, Little Rock has its own airport. So I guess you just a man of
Oh
hey
yeah, no,
girl.
I could easily fly into Little Rock. I just
Yeah.
my dad's always been a driver, and so I've always been a driver too as well. So yeah, just like you said, I hop in my 2000 GMC and start the 8 hour haul, but listen to my country music, Christian music. It's a nice drive. It's pretty
But see,
straight.
you don't have to worry about driving 8 hours now to worry about prom date. I get it now. I get it. You don't want to drive 8 hours, to get a tuxedo and put some shoes on. It's probably gonna hurt your feet anyways. So I get it, man. Just remain in Auburn, have a good time, and you know, some girl out there, she'll scoop you up one day at Auburn.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, moving forward, moving forward. We like to have fun on this podcast, Walker. All the fans like to get to know you and everything.
Hey, I
So
love it.
yeah, let's talk about transitioning now. Get to Auburn. You're going through a couple of winter workouts, and now all of a sudden spring is here. And you guys had a couple of practices so far. How are you feeling about spring practice? How you feel like you're developing? And then also talk about what has been the biggest adjustment from high school to college practices.
Yeah, so I'll just start with the adjustment part. The biggest adjustment from high school to college practices is that high school or college practices are 3 hours.
Yeah.
A lot more of position, individual work, and so I really enjoy that. Definitely the time management part of practices and how they're so organized, split into specific parts, and everyone's transitioning really fast everywhere. That was a huge transition. But the biggest thing that I have, been learning and just about spring ball. First, I love the practices that we do. I think they're put together really well. I have a lot of fun in them. My quarterback coach has always told me that I think has been one of my greatest compliments is that I really enjoy and love practicing. So, when I was on spring break, I was truly and genuinely excited to get back to practice because I have so much fun with my teammates, and it's just I love competing in the game of football. So the practices are really awesome. I do really enjoy that. The development part, I feel like most of my development needs to come up from up here. My knowledge of the game, I feel like, has always been where I've lacked. And so Coach Austin and Coach Stone and even Peyton Thorne and the other quarterbacks in the room, they've done such a good job of answering my questions. And I feel like I've done a pretty good job of asking the questions and not being afraid to ask the questions if I don't know something. Because if I don't know something that we went over in a meeting and I go out there and I do it wrong because I was too afraid to ask a question, then I'm going to look even dumber. So I've been really committed to asking questions, and everyone has done such a good job of answering them in depth and then going even further into it. So that's been the biggest thing that I've been focusing on is just learning the game. Coach Kent Austin has a great emphasis on our feet and eyes, and so he's been disciplining all of us quarterbacks and teaching us where exactly to put our eyes with our feet, just finding the rhythm. So.
Yep, all those quarterback teaching moments. I remember, going through those times. And like I said, coming out as a high school quarterback, sometimes, the expectations can be high and all those type of things. But we have to understand, how to channel those things, right? It's already like a prime position that everyone. And sometimes you feel like not asking those questions because you feel like it's going to hurt you or come against you in a competition. But you're doing the right thing, man. Keep asking questions. The more knowledge, the more that you can be a sponge and soak up knowledge of the game, then you let your physical tools take over. And the more you create, the more you can continue to do those things, you create certain habits. So after a while, you're not even thinking about it; you're just doing it. So just continue to ask those questions, man. That's how you get better. That's how you get, where you want to be at in the game. Is because you sat down and asked those questions. So there's no wrong question as far as being a quarterback. I was that way when I was a rookie. I wanted to know everything. I wanted to know, to sustain in the league for a long time, I need to know what I need to know from a knowledge standpoint. So, congrats on you doing that. So you talk about coming in this recruiting class. Y'all finished top 10. Last year they was number 12. They climbed a lot of rankings last year. But this year's top 10. And Auburn's kind of known for being in top 10 when it comes to recruiting in football. That's when we've had our predominantly great teams. When you talk about coming in with this class, you got a Cam Coleman who's a freak of a nature of a receiver. And then you got Perry Thompson, who's another physical big machine as far as receiver. You got Bryce Kane in the slot. And we still got some other guys as well. But then you get Robert Lewis in the transfer portal. When you talk about, when you look at this receiver room, but just focus more on the guys that you came in with as a class, how is y'all able to communicate? And what does that mean to you as a quarterback to know that you got these type of weapons that's on? I can look to my left, I can look to my right, and even in the middle, I got guys that can go get that ball at any point.
For sure. Yeah. Coming in as a quarterback, knowing I'm going to have 4 great receivers, Malcolm, Perry, Cam, and Bryce, all those guys are just absolute dogs. And I can't remember who I was talking to, but I think it was Mike Gittens. And I told him, I said, I truly believe at some point that all 4 of the receivers that came in my class, Cam, Perry, Malcolm, and Bryce, at some point, there's going to be a game where they're all 4 on the field at the beginning of the game. And I truly believe that because they're all that good. Like, they all are just so athletic, hard workers. And that's the biggest thing I've noticed about a couple of these guys, that they just genuinely love to work and they're thirsty for the game. And then, you talk about Robert Lewis and now Sam Jackson, who came from Cal. They are just athletes. Robert Lewis is the smoothest route runner I think I've ever seen. He is full speed and then 3 steps at a 90-degree cut. He's lightning fast. And Sam Jackson is so twitchy. His routes are crisp. Obviously, we have a lot to work on, but just the receivers and the athletes that I have around me and that are on this Auburn football team. And, we still have Perry and Malcolm to come in the summer. But it's pretty exciting because I was talking to Bo one time, next, and he was just talking about how it's so important to have the right guys around you, and you're only going to be as good as your surrounding teammates. And so just understanding that we are building a team that has a lot of weapons on it, it's very exciting. And I'm eager to see what it's going to turn out to be. But we also understand that we have a lot of work to do between then or here and then.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing is you come in with all these expectations, right? Everyone wants this class to be one of the class to have an opportunity to go compete for championships. And every year you want to compete for a championship. But along the way, you know that there's building blocks. You guys are still very young. You still have a lot to learn. You still got a lot you got to get experience in games, and everything. How do you control your patience level when you're eager to play, but at the same time, understanding like, hey, I may have a chance to play or I may have to sit for a little bit, but you don't really know. How are you going to handle that from a patience standpoint?
I think it's going to be let's say I sit, right? It's going to be really weird because I haven't been in that position forever. I don't think I've ever been in that position. I think it just is going to come down to the humility that I live with in myself, and understanding that I do have a long way to go. Because Bo Nix even advised me, he was like, don't find it a bad thing if you have to sit for a year, because you can still learn so much just by watching the play of the game and watching the guys above you. So I'm not so eager and in a rush to be the guy. Yes, I'm going to go compete. Of course, I'm going to try my hardest, but I'm not going to be all down if I'm not, because I know that I can get a ton of knowledge that is valuable information just from watching play. And you see one of the greatest ever to do it, Tom Brady. He learned from the quarterback that was above him in the Patriots for a couple of years, and he went in, automatically knew what to do, and he never looked back. And so I'm not so in a rush to where I'm gonna rush the process. I also understand that Coach Freeze has a great understanding and knowledge of the game to know if I'm ready or not. So I trust him completely. But the patience part, I think, will just come. I don't know exactly how I'm going to handle that because I haven't been in that position. But I just know that if I continue to desire more knowledge of the game and never lose that thirst of wanting to get better, then I don't think it will be a problem.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. Because I remember when I came out of high school and everything, and I redshirted my first year, and I got a chance to learn a lot from Ben Leard, who was a senior going to his senior year, and I was able to kind of learn from him. I just like watching and kind of just studying how he prepares weekly and everything. But at the same time, I always prepare myself as if I was the guy, because I know at some point I'm going to be the guy. Like it's just a matter of when. So in my mind, it's like I don't want to not be prepared. I want to be ready so that when it comes, I'm already positioned to just kind of take off. And so there's a lot of learning curves, man. There's a lot of different things, but like you said, man, me and Ronnie, we laugh about this. Ronnie Brown, who was my roommate in college, we laugh about this. We both was redshirted, and we used to give fits to our defense. And he ended up being the number 2 pick in the draft, and I was the number 25 pick in the draft in the same year. And we both was redshirted running the scout team. So, you just never know, man. It's just how things gonna work out for you. Some guys, they rush it. They feel like, oh, I gotta be playing because everybody back home expected me to be playing, or people got like they was doing it for everybody else's reasons than themselves, and they knew they wasn't ready, but they felt like they wanted to get out there just because them being seen on TV made them feel relevant when they went back home, and not understanding like, man, if you have to sit for a year and soak up knowledge and everything, it may be better off for your long-term future. But say you go out there and you light it up in spring, and all of a sudden the way that you guys do 7-on-7 nowadays in high school, and you do travel 7-on-7, where it's kind of preparing you for the passing game faster in college now, where you can come in sometime if you go out there and compete, and you can be a starter as a freshman because you feel like, but it's more than 7-on-7. Now it's pass protections. There's all these different things that come
Yeah.
along with it. That exotic blitzes that they do in college and everything. So it's a lot of things to learn, man. But I like your answer. I like everything that you said from that standpoint. Your mind is in the right place. It's in a healthy place where you're prepared for anything. You're prepared to be the guy. You're prepared to be, if I have to sit for a year, you're already prepared yourself for any scenario. That's the best position to be in your situation. Talk about now. You had a couple spring practices. What's excited you the most that you've seen out of spring ball? You be like, oh man, welcome to college. Like this is what I've been waiting to see in SEC football.
I just think every day, every practice, there's elite plays made by elite players. And so every time, and I hope that my teammates would see this, but naturally I get so excited when just a simple play works out, because the more I've learned about the game, the more like I've seen route concepts and defenses, like it's art. And so it's like every time something works out in the passing game, you'll see me on film. I'll be like jumping up and down and like getting excited because it's so cool. And it's so like, there's so much that goes into just one play. And so that's been like really exciting to see and fun for me to see, especially from the point of view of watching another quarterback do it. But one of the coolest things that I feel like I've gotten into is, and this might sound like really like nerdy, but just pass protections, because learning more about that stuff, learning more about defensive coverages, just getting a better understanding of the game. It's only have made me love the quarterback position even more. And Coach Austin was talking to us one time about what the quarterback position really is. And a lot of people from the external view can say, oh, the quarterback is a guy who knows all the routes and throws the ball. That's really it. But there's like just so much more. And you know this, there's so much more to what quarterbacking actually is. And it is fascinating to me. So that's just been learning more about that is just only like excited me for how much more I can learn.
Oh yeah, most definitely. You know, people just think, hey, guys open, throw it to him. It's not that easy. You know, if you got
My dad the other day was like, I was like, yeah, I hit the wrong receiver on the route. And he said, I don't understand that. Just find the open dude and throw it to him. I was like, Dad, I wish it was that easy. And he was like, no, you don't. You don't wish it was that easy, because then it wouldn't be, then anybody could do it. Which I was like, okay, that's a fair point. But I mean, some people just think it's so simple. But it's not.
Me playing quarterback is like playing golf. You know, like it takes repetition and repetition and repetition to become great at, you know, trying to make a par, right? You know, consistently. You know, you can make pars every now and then, but to consistently make pars and shoot what the pros shoot, where they're shooting under, you know, those 72s and everything, that takes a lot of practice and work. It's the same thing for a quarterback. To have a high percentage completion percentage, you know, a lot of things have to go into place. Protection, you know, ball getting out the right time, guys catching the ball, making precise decisions, you know, and then also trying to make a decision. Playing quarterback, you have to make a decision in a split second or two, you know, so understanding how to look at pre-snaps, and sometimes you eliminate half the field just based off the coverage, saying, okay, that route combination is not going to work that way. Let me work front side. That all comes with experience, you know, just different things like that, how to learn to eliminate, you know, certain things, because your timing has to be so quick on certain things. Yeah, it's not that easy, especially when you got an A-gap blitz and the guy's bearing down about to hit you right between your numbers and the chest, and you got to make a 20-yard dig route throw right in the midst of it. And then now after that, you got to get back up off the ground and get ready for the next play. You trying to catch your breath, and coach calls in another passing play. You look to the sideline like, really? Like, give me time to catch my breath. So quarterbacking has a lot to do with crowd noise and a lot of things of how you operate. You're basically a CEO of your offense. That's really
Yes.
what you do. You're a
Yes.
communicator. If one person messes up on communication, the whole play can just fall. That's the importance of communication from quarterback to the rest of the players, is to make sure everyone's on the same page. So yeah, a lot of stuff goes into it that a lot of people have no idea about it. But speaking of that, I guess a lot of folks want to know, Walker, what kind of food guy are you? You come from Arkansas, so I'm gonna make a wild guess myself. You gotta like beef, probably. You gotta like a good steak. Um, you probably are a rib guy. So I'm gonna go with all three of those. What's your go-to meal, and what you like to eat the most?
All right. So like if I could just have one meal.
If you have one meal, what's your go-to?
Okay. Man, so many options. All right. Definitely some brisket. You gotta get some barbecue in there. You can't beat good French fries. Some bread along the side with some butter. Mashed potatoes. I typically drink orange juice with every meal.
Yeah.
Like I don't. My family makes fun of me for it, but like breakfast, lunch, and dinner, like I can have orange juice. It's like my favorite drink. So got to get a cup of orange juice with that. Let's see. Gotta have a green in there. Let's do some roasted asparagus. Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
That's the dream meal right there.
Dessert. What's your dessert?
I'm gonna have to go with my mom's vanilla ice cream pie.
Okay. Okay.
So
Okay. That's what's up. That's what's up. So y'all heard it first. That's Walker's go-to meal. Now, with that being said, we can't have all this the night before the game. What's your go-to meal? What's your go-to meal the night before a big game?
man, the night before a big game. Let's see, those are Thursdays. Okay, so I've never really had like a typical like pre-night meal because all through high school, I don't want to say all through high school. Actually, yeah, my 11th and 10th grade year of being a quarterback for my high school team, me and like five of my buddies would go spend the night at my quarterback coach's house. We all loved our quarterback coach, like great guy. But before we went over and did that, we would go and we would have team meals. And so we would have our team meal like with each other. And then we would go watch, if it's a home game, we would go watch our 9th and 8th grade play football. And then me and my buddies would go to our quarterback coach's house. His wife would make us cinnamon rolls. So that always was great, cinnamon rolls and chocolate milk. But I never had like a routine pre-game meal. It was always just, I was with my buddies. So
Yeah. Well, I can't wait, man. I can't wait to cover you on the radio and everything, because getting a chance to know you on a personal level as well. Like I said, I'm gonna try to get a chance to see you guys practice this Saturday down that way. So get a chance to speak. Talking about being in college, there's traditions at every school. So Auburn has a few of them. The Tiger Walk, you got Rolling Toomer's Corner. You got the Eagle flying before the game. Which tradition are you most looking forward to this fall?
I would say being on the field and going into the fourth quarter when swag surfing plays, lights go out, especially in a night game. That's definitely something I want to see from the field point of view. So I think that is the coolest thing.
Yeah. So what happens if swag surfing goes out? What's the next go-to? What's the next go-to you think then? Because everybody's doing swag surfing. It's been around since like 2009. So at some point, it's going to have to transition. And I asked my wife this the other day, I said, what's the next transition song then that people would do before the fourth quarter? I know Pittsburgh Steelers used to play Renegade. They did it for years. They probably still do it. So it may just stick around for a while. But if it didn't, what would be, I know it's a lot to think about, what would be the Nets go-to song you think that could get the crowd hype in the fourth quarter? Because
That's a
out of
that's a
out
hard
of
question because swag surfing is too iconic. It's too cool right now for me to think of something else. If I were to think of something else, I don't know. A lot of people hate my music selection, so I'm gonna try to do something cool. Um, Probably there's a song that a lot of people listen to in Arkansas. I mentioned
uh,
it to a couple players here. It's like, what is that song? And I was like, are you kidding me? It's just like lit, but it's called Crunk Ain't Dead. And so I think that would go. I think that would be pretty tough, but I don't know. A lot of people might disagree.
okay. Ah, boy, I tell you. See, quarterbacks, man, our minds be all over the place, but it's all over the place. So, all right, I like it. I like it. So you want to be on the field, fourth quarter, swag surfing, come on. All right. So which game? So conference is changing this year, right? So it's no more East and West. It's Texas, Oklahoma entering the conference. So which stadium away from Auburn are you most looking forward to playing in that you've seen on TV as being a high schooler, but which stadium you most look forward to playing in on the road this year?
I've only heard of two great atmospheres, and that's Georgia and Bama.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So those are probably going to be really lit.
Yeah, those two big rival games, those are two biggest rival opponents. So definitely those games, you're gonna have to get up for those because you automatically gonna get up on Monday and then you'll start seeing all the campers and everything start to come in on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. You're like, man, people really coming this early for a game? Yeah. Yeah, they do. They do. So
That's unreal.
do you have any rituals if you threw 5 touchdowns a game before and you wore a certain shirt or your socks were a certain way? Do you do it the same way the next week? Or do you have to like do a certain move before the game? Do you have to, there's something certain that you have to do every week before you play a game?
Yeah. There wasn't a game where I was wearing something specific or I did something specific before the game that I tried to replicate for the games after. But there's definitely a pregame ritual for me. And that first and foremost is reading my Bible every time before I play a game. And there's a specific chapter in Revelation about it. It's Revelation 19. And it just talks about the second coming of Jesus and like it's just a really cool moment. It's like really hype. And so there's this verse that says that Jesus with eyes that look like a flame of fire. And so I try to one of my prayers before the game is that I would play with eyes like a flame of fire. Like I would go out there with energy and passion and just play the game, but also finding my peace in the Lord before the game, because part of the quarterback position is it's a lot of mental. I would say more. Coach Austin argues more than 50% is mental about being a quarterback. So having and finding that peace in the Lord has definitely helped me increase my game performances and just not getting too excited, because that can be a flaw, but also like finding that grit and passion.
Yeah, I get it. That's how I was in the pros as well. I used to, listen to gospel music before games, try to calm my nerves and everything, just kind of help me focus. Our position is so different than everybody else's position. You can look across the locker room, which you're going to find out this year, and you see the DB group just over there, almost like they're in a concert. You see the receiver group like they're in a concert. Then, they look over at the quarterback, so we like sitting back in our locker, eyes closed, headphones on our head, kind of like seeing the game before you actually play the game. I was a big visualizer, as far as like seeing defenses and then seeing where to go with the ball, seeing things happen before they actually, before we got to the game. Just kind of like creating things in my mind, to prepare me for what was about to go out and achieve. And I like what you were saying about the flames of, Christ and everything, his eyes and everything, how you approach the game, that way. And also understanding that, man, you see a lot of guys do a lot of different things. Some guys go to the goalpost, some guys, everyone has their own thing. And right or wrong, I think it's awesome. It'd just be hard for me to wear the same shirt or socks each week because I'm just like, okay, what if I threw 2 picks in that game?
Right.
Like I never did get into like the same socks, same shirt, all those type of things because I'm just not that type of person first and foremost. But some guys, man, you see it, you gonna see it, you be like, dude, chill out. Like literally when I was in Chicago, I literally had a dude on my team that took orange eye drops. He used to get colored eye drops and he would drop them in his eyes. So when he's playing in the game, his eyes look weird. So it had like this orange looking color to it while he's playing in the game. It was weird. It was weird.
Where did
He
he
won.
even discover that?
I have no idea. He was one of our best players. And he only
Hilarious.
did it on game day right before the game. And I was just like, dude,
There
you
you
wouldn't
go.
be scared. Yeah, there you go. So everybody has their own different thing. Now, moving on. So, who has to pay for meals when y'all go out to eat? Is the veteran quarterback? Is it the rookie quarterback now? Is it you? Is it Hank? Is it Holden? Is it Gurn? I mean Thorne? Who's footing the bill?
Yeah,
Or
I mean,
is it
the typical thing is that everyone would split the bill, but if we go out to eat, I wouldn't be surprised if it's me. If they are like, "Nah, you got us," I was like, "All right." So, sometimes you just gotta bite the bullet.
Let me tell you something. Pay for the wings. What I'm saying? If you go somewhere nicer, tell Peyton or some of the older guys, hey, y'all supposed to be showing me the ropes around here. But young pups, man, y'all get a chance to buy wings, man. Can't go wrong with wings.
Yes, sir.
2 more questions, we'll let you out of here. Who's one of your favorite athletes growing up that you kind of model your game out there and watch?
Ooh, I grew up a Cowboys fan and a Arkansas fan.
Jerry Jones, Cowboys, but went to Arkansas.
Oh yeah. Now there's a bunch of great athletes. None in those franchises that I would model my game after. I think, there's guys that I model my game after right now.
Mhm.
Guys like Josh Allen, who's
Good.
a complete dual threat, big body, can rip it, can run it. I'm blanking on his name right now. The old quarterback for the Colts.
Oh, Andrew Luck.
Andrew Luck. I love Andrew Luck. He was a
Yeah.
baller, just an absolute baller before he got out of the league. But I loved watching him.
Yep. Yeah. Andrew was he was a real good student of the game too. And just unfortunately took so many hits and such a pounding, man. He had to make a decision whether have a healthier future or continue to play the game he loved. But he I commend him for what he was able to do as a player, but also commend him even more to be able to say, hey, I just consider my health in my future because of all the injuries. He had like over 30 surgeries or something. Like it was something ridiculous in like 8 years of football in college pros. Crazy. Last one. Trying to make it a good one. I think I know the answer to this one. I was gonna say what mental tool do you use under pressure? Like, well, last two. One word to describe you, and then how do you deal with pressure situations?
Okay. I'm gonna answer the pressure situations one first because word hasn't popped up yet. But anyway, for me, are you specifically asking for in-game pressure situations?
Yeah, like in game pressure
Okay,
situations.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I pray while I play, in between drives or as I'm getting the next play, I just kind of just sit there and pray and ask that the Holy Spirit would just kind of guide my steps, guide my arm, and just calm me down so I'm able to think clearly. But that's definitely something that has helped me a lot. And God, one word to describe me. I have to go with. I'm going to go with intentional.
Like it.
Sir.
Like it. Like it. Like it. Intentional. That's a great one to end on right there, everybody. Watching this episode, hopefully we was able to bring you insight on Walker White. Definitely a man of faith. I commend you for that and being able to speak about it. And hopefully you continue to encourage others around you as you continue to grow as well. Uh, hey, if anybody continues to that's watching this episode, we hope you continue to give to On to Victory, continue to support our podcast, continue to support this our student athletes here at Auburn through what you give to On to Victory. It does not it's not taken lightly. You're definitely appreciated. You're definitely welcome for what you do for us and our student athletes who say the same. So Walker White, hey man, continue to enjoy spring. It only gets better. I can't wait to scrimmage time and A-Day and in the summertime and everything.
Yeah.
But enjoy the ride, man. Take it all in process. I mean, take it all in steps.
Yes,
It's all building blocks. And like I said, we'll be in touch. Get a chance to see you on the planes. And sorry, guys, we went over 15 minutes. We had such a great conversation. Quarterback talk, man. You know how it goes. But I hope you enjoy the episode and wish Walker all the best. Appreciate it, Walker.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you.